Okay, yeah, we are live.
Okay. Hi everyone. I'm Tanya. You might have heard me last week. I founded a charity called Championing Youth Minds, but I actually met Nikhil through Instagram. He messaged me after reading my blog post about my experiences with my chronic illnesses. And today we're going to kind of be touching upon educational adjustments. So the time we've been at college, how we've struggled to get accommodations from the institutions and our experiences about that. So I will start and kind of talk about my experience.
Yeah, yeah. Because like I think
Yeah, so
like when I read your blog, it was about this that like I felt like I think like I was very much impacted by like how strongly you wrote about accommodations, like not getting enough accommodations. So yeah, I think like I want you to tell your story first.
yeah, so I started having symptoms when I was, I think 13, 14. I don't really remember, to be honest. But in the UK, you have um, like two main exams. So GCSEs, A levels. I don't know if anyone knows what they are, but I had to kind of deal with those exams to go from high school to college, college to university. And during those exam periods, I couldn't get accommodations because I didn't have a diagnosis. And I tried to explain, but you need you need a doctor's letter, you need a diagnosis, you need it like in detail. And I could never get that because I wasn't diagnosed. And it got really frustrating because that meant that I wouldn't get extra time. I wouldn't get breaks during my exams. So basically, I was in the same position as everyone else. Like I just had to basically push myself really hard to just do well in the exams. And then when I started university, I obviously approached the university and said, look, hey, I have these, health conditions. Is it possible you could give me accommodations? They were like, yeah, but you need like a doctor's letter. So I paid and I got a doctor's letter. It wasn't enough information. They said, you need like a name, you need like a diagnosis and then enough information. And then I saw a doctor privately, so I paid for the doctor. They wrote a letter, just wasn't enough. And I think that's what really tipped me over the edge to write that blog. And I think that's why the blog was probably so impactful, as you say, because I was just so frustrated. Because everyone's entitled to accommodations if they need it. And I know I'm entitled to it because now I have them. So like I get extra time and breaks during my exams, but I just wasn't really getting given it. And it's frustrating because I can't write a doctor's letter myself and tell them my experience there. Like it's just not credible. Um, so yeah, it was kind of really frustrating and kind of just isolating. So that's basically my experience. So yeah, Nico, do you wanna kind of talk about yours?
Uh, so I was diagnosed when I was in my I had completed 3 years of my degree, and what happened was I got diagnosed just before my seventh semester had started, like final year, first of the final 2 semesters it had started, and I couldn't go to college for like 2 or 3 months, and then I missed my mid semester exams. So when I finally was able to go back to college and I submitted, before, like even before I had submitted, what happened was I remember the first day I went to class and the teacher was like, "What happened to you? Like I'm seeing you after I don't know you are," and I told them that I was taken something, and the teacher was like, "Just drop the semester, like bluntly, like you should drop the semester, like you have missed too much, and it's like nothing can happen. You just drop the semester." And I was like kind of offended, like just like he's not even like allowing me to sit in his class. And I told him that I've given a letter, like I got a medical certificate from my doctor that I was suffering from this. And so even with the diagnosis, like there was very like there was nothing the administration did. And what happened was like I missed my exam. So what I did was I told them that I need some makeup exams or something because like it was 30% of my overall grade. But they didn't do that. And what happened was they would just send me from office to office, and I would have to explain every time that, okay, this was my condition. I was at home 3 months and for the exams, but it didn't happen. And I spent like the entire semester trying to do it, but it didn't happen. And that semester, I got my lowest marks. Like, basically,
Mhm.
I out of instead of doing out of 100, it was like out of 70, because like 30% I had completely lost. Like, it was zero. But then, okay, I recovered, and like in my final semester, I got good marks and it was okay. But like that semester, there was no accommodation. Like, even that semester, I was like sick, but still, like, there was nothing that I could ask for. Like, they would not allow me an extra time or like whatever accommodation. Like, it was just like nothing, just zero. And then when I came to grad school, what I had done was, like, I had already, before my admission, I had communicated with the campus that, okay, I'm a student with this condition. I need certain accommodations. Like, I need a certain kind of room, and I need these things so that I can like do my degree. And if you don't have these things, just tell me so that I can look for like a different institute where like they might be able to. So that time they said, okay, we'll give you these things, all these things, whatever you need. But actually, when I came here, like, they denied, like, like they straight away denied. And for 7 days, I had to run from office to office, like explaining these things to everyone, like to the deans and everyone. And everyone is like, we can't help you. And finally, like somehow the hostel warden was very kind to me, and he did some things, and I got like a room, the kind that I wanted. But like, it was a like, this room is very dirty. That's why I have this background. Like, this room is like, it hasn't been cleaned in years. It feels like that. So, but still, okay, I got a room that I wanted. But like, when I went to get this room, finally, when I went to get this room, the assigner, the person who assigns this room, they were like, this room is usually given to people who have disabilities, and like, we are just giving it to you because you are requesting so much, and it's just temporary, and you might be kicked out anytime. I'm like, oh my god, like, such a big favor you are doing. And yeah, and then
Wow.
here, like, the schedule is like very hectic, and I couldn't attend any classes. But luckily, like, there's no attendance policy, so like, I'd skip all classes. But yeah, like, my teachers weren't happy about me skipping classes and everything. But yeah, like, it's very hard to. And at that time, there was no online system. Like, though the
Mhm.
lectures weren't recorded, and even, like, the hostel in which I live, it didn't have any Wi-Fi. So like, even to access the internet or do self study, you have to go to the department or something. So it's like, unless you have a very healthy body, it's very difficult to survive here. And for someone like me,
Mhm.
like, I have had to compromise on a lot of stuff, like like skip lectures, and even on like other things, like social life or whatever, just to keep up with the coursework and everything. And I think, yeah, it's very stressful. And yeah, like you said, it's very isolating. Like, I mostly used to just stay in my room, just completing like like, like, medical tasks, and then like academic tasks, and then like that was my life, just like switching
Mhm.
between my ostomy and my studies. Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's very, yeah.
Yeah, no. Like for me, it was like I had to choose between, do I want to spend my time socializing and then rest? Or do I want to spend my time catching up on work and then rest? And it's like there was like times when like people would want to go out and I'd just be like, I need to sleep. Like I'm just so exhausted or like I'm in pain. And it's just like it feels like you always have to sacrifice something.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a really frustrating thing because you shouldn't have to feel like you have to sacrifice stuff. And I think, especially when you can't get, when no one's giving you accommodations, then it feels like you're being forced to sacrifice
Yeah.
even more. And you just feel angry, but you don't know who to feel angry about because everyone you go to is like, I'm not in charge of this. Like, you need this, you need that.
Yeah.
You're just kind of thrown around the place.
Yeah. And like, Tanya, like you suffered this in school also and in college also. So like, did you suffer academically as a result of this?
I think I would have done better in my exams. Like, I did well, and I don't know how I did well, but I could have got the highest marks if because it was like, I remember like for my A levels, so when I was basically sitting exams for university, I I would sleep at 12. So I'd sleep at midnight. I'd wake up again at 3 a.m., make myself a huge cup of coffee and just study before the exam. And I don't know why I did that because even healthy people don't do that. But I just felt like I had to because I didn't want I didn't want the lack of accommodations
Yeah,
to
yeah,
compromise my results, which I guess, to be honest, it did. Like, I could have got an A star or got an A instead.
yeah,
It's not that big of a deal, but I had to push myself so much. It's just unfair.
yeah. Even like in my undergraduation, like that semester, I got very low marks, and uh, like my goal was to graduate with distinction. So I was lucky that in my final semester, like I worked really hard and I got the marks to like compensate for that loss. But like if that hadn't happened, then I would have like had a uh, much better GPA at the end of my degree. And in India, it matters. Like GPA matters. Like I think so. Even in grad school, what happened was in my first semester, like I got straight A's in all my courses except one. And in that course, like I was sick and I got a C in that course. And that course is the easiest course. Like everybody has an A in that course and I have a C in that course. So I think like because of lack of uh, like I don't think these accommodations are like a very big deal. Like it's just a small adjustment. But because of lack of
Mhm.
those small adjustment, I think that has a very big impact on our like academics also. And then I think obviously right like, that will our academic profile will impact our professional whatever we are trying to do. I think that will impact. So yeah, like I'm really like pissed off about it. Like I still like sometimes think about like if that wouldn't have happened, then like what more opportunities would I have got, or like things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it feels like no one cares but you because it's going to impact you. And like, you can go to like the people in the institution, and for them, it's such a small change. Like, for them, it's literally like it's not going to affect their life. But for us, that small change
Yeah, yeah,
affects our life. And it's like, it's frustrating because you feel like no one cares. Like, no one cares more than you care. But it just feels like no one cares at all. Um, and I mean, even now, like when I apply for stuff, I probably get rejected. Like, it crosses my mind, like, okay, what if I got better grades? Why didn't I get the highest grades because of this? So it's just like I know I'm capable, but
yeah,
this
yeah,
situation just wasn't. It doesn't allow you to
yeah.
fulfill your potential.
Yeah, I think that is like the biggest like thorn that you know you are capable, and but because of that thing like you have this blemish on your record. Like it feels like that,
Mhm.
like you want to erase it but you can't, like, and it's not a complete reflection of how capable you are, but still like you have to have that because like some person couldn't do like a minute thing, and because of
Mhm.
that. And I remember like even in terms of accommodations, like there was this other guy who fell sick for like I think a week or two, and for them I don't know what happened, like they gave him oral makeup exams. Like he went to all the teachers and they gave him, and I was like so mad at them. Like I went from office to office requesting you like for makeup exams and you didn't do it for me, and then for like another person you did do it. Like I didn't understand like why this kind of thing happened, but yeah, it kind of felt discriminatory. And right now, even in my campus, like I don't know if this happened with you or not, like did you feel like that the uh, doctors, do you have doctors on campus, like?
No.
Okay, but
Oh, yeah, we do, but I've never been to them.
okay, so here, like to do everything for anything medical, like we have to consult with them. Like the doctors on campus didn't even like take me seriously. Like even they didn't take like seriously. And instead of like supporting that, okay, despite everything you have come here and doing things, they are saying they told me that don't make your illness an excuse to skip classes. So But like that is so bad. Like, what are you saying? Like, if I was going to do that, why would I like come here? Like, why would I get enrolled
Mhm.
into a course I know is going to be difficult for me? Just like having this condition. I don't know. Like sometimes it just yeah, you get mad at people and like you said, yeah, it feels like they don't care at all. Like you
Mhm.
are just stuck with yourself. Like you are the only one who are trying for yourself and you don't get any aid from these people even though like they have the power to do it and it won't like take a lot of their time or like take a lot of
It
effort.
doesn't.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, like for me, when I was in college, so in England, college is 2 years. Then you sit exams at the end of the 2 years before you go to university. I So you can choose. Not everyone normally takes 3 subjects, but the really, really clever people take 4 subjects. And because I was on a scholarship, I was forced to take 4 subjects, and I was like, I know I'm capable of doing 4 subjects. And during my first year, obviously, like I had times where like I had face infection. So I would take time off school. Like I can't go to school if I have an infected face. And it was just like I just moved to a new college. Like everything was new. I've got these face infections. I felt insecure. And then I was like to my parents, like right now I need to drop a subject. Like I want to drop Spanish because it's just too much for me. And then I got invited to talk to like the deputy head teacher or whatever. And she was like, what's wrong? Why do you want to drop it? And I was like, oh, because like I've got, with this health condition, just too much pressure. And she was like, okay, but you're like a scholar, like you should be doing 4. And I was like, I know I'm capable of doing 4, but do you want me to like kill myself just so I do 4? Um, and then the thing is afterwards, after I left, she didn't say anything. After I left, she emailed my parents. And she emailed my parents saying, I don't think Tanya needs to drop Spanish because she was smiling when I saw her. She looked happy. And I'm like, well, do you want me to come into your office crying? Like,
Yeah.
I'm smiling to be polite. And the thing is, then I had to keep it. So I obviously did 4 subjects. I sat like all of those exams. And it's just like, this just made no sense. Like, what type of situation do I need to be in for you to even consider it? Like, I literally telling you I have this condition, and it's like your
Yeah,
excuses. She was smiling. Like, it's
yeah,
just
yeah,
so stupid.
yeah. I think it's like what we discussed last time. Like we put in a lot of effort to present ourselves like how we are required to be, and like that is like for that reason, like they'll discount our problems. Like
Hmm.
here, like I've had a number of days, like I have ostomy leaks like during nights usually. So, and I've had a number of days where like something happened during the night and I spent the whole night just cleaning up and fixing myself and I don't have the energy to go to class or like do something. But still I have to go, like maybe it's an important lab or I can't miss it and I just go somehow. And then yeah, like if I'm not writing or like not doing something, then it will be like you are fine, right? Like you came here, you are smiling, you are fine. Why are you not doing what you're required to do? Like I just came to show up so that you wouldn't say that it didn't show up. I just came because it was required and like you don't know what happened to me the previous night. Like and I can't
Exactly.
like what do you want? Like do we have to carry a proof of like what has happened to us or not? Like it's just ridiculous. Like those assumptions and yeah, like it's very insulting also sometimes. Like the
It is.
kind of effort we put in to like keep up with everything, like it's very insulting when this kind of thing happens.
Like, it's insulting because you try so hard and it feels like no matter how hard you try, no one appreciates it. Or like no one even acknowledges, like, look,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah,
you've got this condition and your peers don't, and you're still coming to classes, you're trying your best. And it's like no one tells you, like, look, well done for like trying your best. I remember like that day, like when my parents told me about the email, I was just crying and I was just like, what the hell? Like, it's just stupid. And it's just like we talked about the mental health thing, last time about how isolating. yeah, how
Yeah.
isolating how isolating it can be to be chronically ill because you feel lonely, you feel XYZ. And then on top of that, people around you are literally like isolating you even more and like not giving you the basic stuff. And I think for me, it's like sometimes I think like in the first place, why do I have this condition and the people around me don't? And then I'm like, okay, it's okay. I have a condition. I'm capable of coping with it. But then why can't you just give me the stuff I'm entitled to? Like at least try and give me something positive. It's like nothing, like how much are you just gonna like give to someone like negative, I guess. It just becomes really overwhelming.
Yeah, like even like I don't know, like there are a number of days like when I've just cried. Like I'm going to my department, I'm just crying along the way. I'm just like hiding my tears from people. And yeah, like I'm in class and internally I'm crying and I'm not good. And yeah, the thing is like nobody, like you said, nobody even acknowledges that. And nobody's even ready to give you a small amount of leeway. Like your prof won't say, okay, like you're doing so much, just take an extra day. Like that won't happen. Like you have to compete, at the same standards at which everyone else is doing. And with less energy, like it's not just about illness, right? It impacts in so many other ways. Like your mental health is already disturbed just by having a chronic illness.
Mhm.
Like leave apart the academic stress and everything, and then you are fatigued and you are in pain, but still you have to like complete everything that everyone else is supposed to do. And like you are always judged by that same standard, no matter what is happening to you and no matter what's like mental and physical condition. And I think like uh, I used to get angry a lot. Like right now, I'm not dealing with administration a lot, but yeah, like the past 2 years, like it was I used to get angry a lot. Even during the pandemic, like I wanted to defer my exams. Like there was an
Mhm.
option during the pandemic that either you want to give your exams online or you want to wait till campus resumes and you can give it then. So like I was not comfortable and it was just too stressful for me. Like during the pandemic, I was struggling with my medical care and everything, and I just wanted to like defer it. And what happened was, like one of my courses, the professor was like, again, drop it. Like if the administration has given me a choice, like why are you even giving us a choice? Like if you're not ready to do it, then. And then like it
Mhm.
led to it led to like a series of intense discussions between me and the prof. Like he was like, just drop it, next semester you can pick it up, and like anyways you also didn't come to class. And then I had to, I don't like then I had to remind him, sir, I don't come to class because like I have some medical conditions, but it's my responsibility to catch up with the coursework, and I do that. And that's why I have a good grade in my midterm. Like I literally had the second highest mark. And like, I told him that, like, I hate to do this, but like I told, sir, I have this much marks, despite like you claiming that I don't come to class or whatever. So that's my responsibility. I'm just asking you to allow me this option. Otherwise, like, I'm going to lose 2 3 months of my hard work and this grade that I've built up. So like, I should be given that option. And like, yeah, after like 3 4 meals and all those discussions, like he was ready to give me that. But then yeah, yeah, again it felt insulting also, it felt unfair. And then yeah, there was anger. And yeah, like initially it's anger, and then when it happens lot many times you just cry. Like I've
It's
cried
just
lot many times.
upsetting.
Like it's just horrible. Like, and what will happen is like on the way I'm crying, and when I'm about to reach the class, all fine. And yeah, people will think that nothing has happened to this guy, and yeah, he's just fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me it's like I felt I lived first year, I had to email every single teacher and be like, dear sir, madam, I have this condition, this gives me this symptom, this is why. So the same email to everyone. It's like I'm exposing my it just feels insulting that I have to send individual emails to each person and explain myself. And it feels like you're your own like lawyer. Like you have to advocate for yourself. And it's like, how am I meant to focus on education and everything you have to focus on when I have to literally fight for myself? Like,
Yeah. like keep running around campus for like a lot of stuff. Like even for like financial aid, I was like running around offices, and uh, just from like some person will redirect me to some other person, they will like say something else, and like it's just like a lot of running around, like for medical care, for like this like financial aid, and a lot of like for your scholarship. And in the middle of all this, yeah, how are you supposed to stay focused on your education? And that's the thing, like whatever remaining energy we have left, we put that in our education, and then we have energy left for nothing. Like that's our life,
Hmm.
just running around and like trying to keep up with studies. And yeah, like sometimes at the end you think, right, like what's all of this worth? Like I'm not enjoying, like what am I doing? Like where is all this leading to? Because like at our age we are also supposed to be doing other things, right? Like we are not supposed
Hmm.
to like just be uh like locking ourselves in this process and like not have time to do anything else. Because I think that
Hmm.
that will also hamper our personal development into other things. Like it's not just about life, like you are not getting exposed to other experiences that normal people are getting exposed to. So I think that
Hmm.
hampers some part of our personal development as well. So yeah, we have a lot to lose just because some people don't find that we are deserving, or I don't know, either they are lazy or either they don't trust us, or I don't know what, but like that lack of effort on their part, a small effort, like it has huge implications for us, like huge losses for us. Yeah.
Hmm. I like I understand why, they need evidence and stuff. That's understandable. But you hit a point where it's like, if I've contacted you like 5, 6 times, do you really think I'd be pretending for this
Yeah.
long? Like, it's like, what do you need me to do? Like, do I rip open my body and say, this is a like,
Yeah.
I don't know what you have to do. And it's like, we get so used to like putting a front on and like pretending that we're okay because it's just embarrassing, I guess, to you want to like just keep yourself together. And then it's like, but then it feels like when I keep myself together, it's not good enough. When I don't keep myself together, it's still not good enough. What do you want me to do?
Yeah. 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 Exactly. Like, yeah, when you're, yeah, even like mentally, if you're not coping, then I don't know. Yeah, I think it's that kind of thing. Like if you go to them crying, then maybe they'll show you pity or something like that. But we don't want that, right? Like it's
I
because
don't want
that's
to, but you have
humiliating.
to.
Because that's humiliating. Like you don't want you we don't want that. Like I think that's what they expect. Maybe like people will come crying to us and then maybe we'll do something. But that's like humiliating. Like because I think that's indignifying. Yeah. I don't think like that's good at all. Like
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know what
I
they
mean,
expect of us. Yeah.
yeah, another thing for me is like I study international relations and Chinese. So it's just like a lot of memorization. And like, I don't know about, I mean, my dad always says like in India, exams are pretty much memorization, like learn the textbook and then memorize it. Obviously in England, it's the same as well. And um, the thing is with my conditions, it affects your memory as well. And you get brain fog.
Yeah.
And I always used to be the person who would remember everything. I had such a good memory. And over time I've noticed how sometimes like I stop when I'm talking because I'm like, what
Yeah.
am I trying to like you just go like blank. And it's like things like this, like they're like scientifically proven symptoms of the conditions.
Yeah.
But how do I explain to my Chinese oral examiner that when I'm supposed to memorize 3 presentations, I'm struggling because I have brain fog? Like it's also not just about like the institution, it's more like education, how education is defined itself, because it's just not inclusive. Like, are you really testing my knowledge if you're testing my memorization? Like, and if I'm struggling with my memory, then like how can I prove that I'm struggling?
Yeah. Yeah. Like even I used to have a very good memory, and like after this thing, like my brain fog has like I think I'm having like suffering from it right now, because like on some days I cannot speak at all. Like it has impacted my speech also indirectly. And I think last talk also I forgot something midway. So like I'm experiencing brain fog. Like its effects are like really severe for me. And like yeah, I forget things midway. And I used to be that person like who used to memorize everything, good at like everything. And now I have to write stuff in four places. Like I have a board in my room, I write stuff there. I have a diary, I write stuff there, on mobile, on laptop. Like the same thing at four, five places so that I don't miss anything. Like it's
Mhm.
it's like paranoia at some level. Like the same stuff scribbled at all places, and even then I miss some stuff. So yeah, like, and obviously like this will impact your academic performance. And then but yeah, this thing is even not acknowledged like medically, right? I don't know why. Like even like a lot of patients experience this, but like I don't know, it's not included in like the official list of symptoms, like in any condition. Like I
Mhm.
haven't seen like for any condition brain fog listed as a symptom. So I don't know why, but like literally everyone with the chronic illness experiences this. Like almost like
Yeah.
everyone. But like yeah, it's not recognized. And yeah, how are you supposed to? I don't know. How are you even supposed to explain it to someone? I think
You
that's the
can't.
problem, right? Like there's no recognition also like of like the spectrum of experiences that we have to go through. Like there's no recognition.
Mhm.
And further there's no education like of education and awareness of these things, like among like faculty and administration and people in general. So yeah, I but like you are running an educational institution, so yeah, like you said, like you have to be inclusive, right? Because even for my like okay, I have an ostomy and I can't get a job, so I thought like okay, I can study, right? Let's go to grad school. And when I actually got the forms for my admission here, there was like I had to produce this medical fitness certificate. And I was like shocked. Like to study also, I have to be medically fit. So like what are people with chronic illnesses supposed to do? You can't do a job, you can't study. So what, like die, or like what, stay home and what, like be dependent forever? So like it was really shocking. Like if a person has like
Mhm.
I don't know, like what, yeah, it's still like it's ridiculous. Like what am I supposed to do if I can study and if I can do a job? So yeah, like at
Um,
least education should be kept inclusive. And yeah, forget about chronic illnesses. In my campus, I think this is what I notice a lot here. Like there are these ramps and all those things that like people with visible disabilities need. But I am yet to see like there are very few people with visible disabilities that I have seen in on my campus. So I see that gap. Like there's clearly like you say that you are an inclusive campus and everything, but you don't have any students like that. So like how,
mhm.
why is that happening? How is that happening? So yeah, like like the system is such that people with such conditions are not able to like get here. So clearly like
Mhm.
there's lack of accommodations and everything. So it's hampering. It's not like people with disabilities are not smart as people with normal health or something like that. We are equally smart, like because like a lot of us are uh, doing what others are doing. Like we have good grades, like you yourself said, right? So that proves that it's not like we have less mental faculties or like we are less capable or something. But still the system is such that it's discriminatory by nature, like not by,
Mhm.
it's not inclusive. And yeah, like by default it's made like that. And we don't see any effort from people in changing that also. Like at least I don't see it here. Like there's words, but like when like ground reality hasn't changed. Like there's not many students like me or like even like visibly like who have physical disabilities.
I mean, it's interesting that you said you had to fill out like a medical kind of proof that you're physically fit, because we don't have to do that in England, thankfully. But obviously, so it's kind of a long story, but I was meant to go to China to study in China. And to apply for a visa, for a student visa, you have to have a medical form that literally has like ECG reports, chest x
Yeah,
rays,
yeah.
blood tests. Like, it's ridiculous. And as soon as like, even the other people, my friends and stuff, they were like, oh, like, how am I going to have to get this filled out from the doctor? But like, they knew that their reports were going to come back fine. But for me, it
Yeah.
was just like panic. Like, am I going to be rejected a visa by China because I have, like, do I lie and say I'm physically fit? But then that means that I'm not going to get accommodation. Or do I take the risk and apply and then be rejected?
To be
So
rejected.
in the end, I made a decision that I'm not going to go to China because if I can't get proper accommodation in the UK, no way am I going to get accommodations in China. Like, I'm sorry, but there's just no way I'm going to get them. Um, and like, it's hard because that means I've sacrificed my experience. I really wanted to go to China and I've sacrificed that experience because I know I'm not going to get what I need there. And like, it means that I have to transfer my course. And it's also like a bit, it's not embarrassing, but it's kind of like my course mates don't know that I'm not going to China and they all are going to China in September. And eventually I'm going to have to say like, look, guys, I can't go. And it's like, I'm dreading that moment because it's not embarrassing, but you feel like your illness or like other people's ignorance has like won and it's like taking stuff away from you.
Yeah, yeah. Even like I remember when I was like after my graduation, I also wanted to go abroad for like grad school and everything. But one, I didn't have money, and second thing was this medical thing. And I remember like there was this guy, like he was with me like in my project and everything, and like academically, like he had a like he didn't have a better profile than me. Like I had a much better profile than him, and he's coming to me and he like actually asked me like, can you fill this part of my application for me, like whatever we have done in our project. And he got to go like abroad and study at a much better institution, and I'm like stuck here and I can't even find a job. And like, so yeah, like it it's not embarrassing, but yeah, it's like you kind of start feeling sad for yourself. Like I think some amount of self pity starts to kick in, like when you see those people like they're flourishing and like they're getting to do whatever they want, and here like you have to compromise, like at every step you are having to think about what you can do, what you cannot do. And yeah, I think like at some point it becomes very sad for like, I don't know, like yeah, I that at those moments I loathe myself. Like I think like, why did I have to get this condition? And like why did, because like yeah, obviously like if you're smart, if you are equally smart, you are equally ambitious, and you don't get to do those things just because of this thing, then yeah, like it feels very like, yeah, like I've cried about. And still like right now also I feel sometimes that yeah, like I deserve much better than this, but like I have had to compromise. And yeah, like, and it's not easy to do that, right? It's not easy to just forget
No.
about it. Like people will say that just forget about it, move on, but it's not easy to do so because you know that you deserved it. And just because of some thing, like some little thing, you didn't get it. So yeah, it's not easy to even forget about it.
It's like hard to remember how much you deserve and value yourself, but then also like it's hard because you don't want to like get in the cycle of self-pity because that mentally puts you down. But at the same time, you have to remember that, you do deserve these things. You are capable. You're no less than anyone else. And it's the fact that we have to put energy into finding that balance as well. It's just like another thing that takes our energy away. Um, and like, um, see, look, I'm having brain fog now.
Yeah.
Let me try and think of what I was going to say. Um, I don't remember. I'm completely
Yeah.
blank. You carry on.
Yeah, yeah. This thing happened with me last time. So yeah, like I think, like you said, right? Like we have to value ourselves, and I think that also becomes increasingly difficult at this age, like when you are starting your career and everything, because like the value that the world assigns to you is different than the value that you are assigning to yourself. Like because like of all this compromise that you have had to make, like in the eyes of the world, your value is different, right? Like maybe you are not like let's say I had to go to a lesser institution because of lack of accommodations, even though like I deserved, like I had that much capability to get into the institution. So but in the eyes of the world, like the world doesn't know your story, right? Like for them, like you are just a student from lesser institution. So like if even if I go to a job interview or something like that, like I can't just start out by saying that, okay, listen, like I'm from this institute because I haven't listened. No, for them it's like whatever you have done, like on that piece of paper, it's like, okay, you have a lower grade, you have, there's something lacking, and like you won't always have the opportunity, or like the person in front of you won't always be receptive to your explanations or everything, right? Even like when I was doing my grad school interviews for this institute, so I did not initially tell them that I was sick and anything. Like first, I gave the interview, and then when I felt that okay, now they're convinced that I can do it, then I tried to tell them that I have this condition. But then, even when I told them I had this condition, they were like, the university won't support you that much, so like just think about it and stuff. So even when I had to search for labs, like we had to go to talk to professors and discuss like what research they do, and like which lab do you want to get involved with. And I remember like there was this one professor, and the moment I told him that I had a condition, and he was like, don't like be interested in my lab, like my lab will have a lot of heavy work or something. Like he just made up something and you won't be able to do it. And I felt very bad because like I wanted to join that lab, but I felt very bad like just because of this. So yeah, like it's very hard to keep saying to yourself that you are much better than this, because because you know this, because only you know this, because in the eyes of the world and everyone else, like you are defined by, yeah, your LinkedIn profile, resume, your CV, and because of compromises, there's something lacking there. And like we try our best to keep that up, right? Like we try our best so that okay, I don't want my resume to have okay like a lower CGP or something like that. But yeah, it will happen, and then it's difficult to keep reminding yourself that okay, you are much more capable, and much more valuable than what this piece of paper tells you, or like what others are telling you.
It's like you said, like what the value you want to assign yourself is different to the value everything else is assigned to you. So it's like within myself, I can do my self care, I can self love myself, like, and I'll be happy and content. But as soon as I interact with anyone else or do anything in daily life, then it's like, am I just meant to switch my mindset into, okay, this is this, it's not going to affect me mentally, I'm going to be okay? Like, it's like a constant battle between, like, I'm a strong person, I'm capable. My illness just means I have a different perspective. I can do more things, I can raise awareness. And then I'm capable, but I have this condition. It's stopping me from X, Y, Z. Everyone else is, I don't know, like, even like you said, like our CV will have our grades, but our CV will not have the grade of, let's say, in brackets, like
Yeah.
lower grade because this
Yeah.
module, like this semester
Yeah.
was like affected. So it's like there's no explanation at all, and it's like sometimes I think like when I apply for jobs, like should I disclose about my disability? Because what if they see that they see my CV against someone else's CV, and it's like with the same level, but I have a disability and they don't, and then it's just like
Yeah.
obviously, am I just going to be disadvantaged? Um, it's scary. Like I think people don't understand how scary it is for us because everyone's worried about getting a job and everyone's worried about getting grades. Like for us, it's like you feel like you're already at a disadvantage. So you have to like step carefully, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
and yeah, like before exams, like I would be like super careful about what I eat, what like how I do things, and so, but still, like one bad day, like one bad moment, and like it can ruin everything. And the problem is, oh, some people will say that okay, it can happen to everyone else, but like you are already like predisposed to having bad days, like much more bad days, because every day you are struggling, every day you are drained. So like when I have 2 3 exams in a row, like like 2 3 exams, like every day I have an exam, so automatically like after giving 2 exams, I'm like drained out, like I can't do anymore. And then my third exam is automatically going to be affected, not because like I didn't study hard enough, or just because like that's the way my body works, like my body is not capable of keeping up with that kind of pressure. But then, yeah, like the sad part is, like, in my mind, like, if like what I think is, if I tell this to people, then it will come back to that same thing. Like, people will say that, oh, you are not medically fit for grad school, then, oh, or like, you are not
Mhm.
medically fit for then just not do it. Then, like, what are we supposed to do then?
It's like um we know our bodies better than anyone else. And like we know, like for example, like if I eat certain foods, it's gonna trigger something. If I tire myself out, then I'm gonna be really fatigued. We know that, but like it's like you have to choose between really valuing your body and like listening to what your body needs, but then having to like like you said, like sit 3 exams in a row because you have to. So it's like you have to compromise at each stage, or like there's always one like a win and a loss. And it's hard that you have to how to explain to people that at each everything I do, I'm always kind of compromising something else. And I'm making that decision because I have no other option. It's just
Yeah,
like
we are
what
always
people
losing.
say.
We are always losing somewhere.
Mhm. And it's like when people, what people say is like a bad day for them is probably what a good day feels like for us. And our bad days are like unimaginable.
Yeah.
Um, so like I know people like will talk before an exam and oh, I'm so tired, I didn't sleep properly. In my head, I'm like, you didn't sleep properly. How long did you sleep? They say, oh, I slept like maybe like 5, 6 hours. And I'm like, wow, you sleep 5, 6 hours? And it's just
Yeah.
like crazy. Like it's like our standards, not our standards, but it's like I don't know, like a lot of people say to me, like, oh, stop being so negative, stop being so pessimistic. I'm not being negative or pessimistic. I know the reality. I know what
Yeah,
my body can take and what
exactly.
my body can't take. I'm not trying to get sympathy. I'm not trying to victimize myself. I'm just not pushing my body over its limits.
Yeah. This thing about positivity and it, like, this thing is very bad. Like, you can't just ignore reality and say that, okay, like, if reality is sad, you can't just ignore it and say that just because it's like negative, or just because like it makes you uncomfortable, you can't just deny it, right? Because like it's the reality, and someone is living with that reality, and you can't just discount their experiences, and you can't just say that, okay, like, you are just being negative or something like that. Like, I find that very frustrating when people say that, okay, you are being pessimistic or like that's reality, dude. Like, we are living with it.
Mhm.
And yeah, like, one bad day, like, like, we have this entrance exams in India, like, for getting into grad school, for getting a job. And I have given every one of my, like, every one of my exams, like, in pain. And I used to have incontinence at that time, so I was in a diaper. I was in a diaper. I used to have pain, like, 24/7 pain. And like, I would stop eating a day before my exam, so like, I am starved, and I would not even drink water. So I have no food,
Mhm.
no water in my stomach, I'm in pain, I'm wearing a diaper, and I'm going to give my exam. And I still remember the moment I sat on, and like, like, started my exam. My eyes were like hurting, and I couldn't even read the question properly. So I knew that, okay, it's like, I'm already at a disadvantage. Like, I'm beginning the exam, and I'm feeling like I'm not at my top. Like, I'm not. I'm not. I can't perform well. I'm already thinking that. And despite that, I'm giving my exam, and I'm like getting here. Like, I'm achieving things. So yeah, like, we deserve it. But still, like, you could make it a bit more comfortable for me, even for these grad school interviews. Like, I had to physically come to Bangalore, like, from Delhi to Bangalore. And in a, like, the interviews were over a week, and in a week I just ate 3 times, so that like my bag would
Oh,
not leak in middle of an interview or something. Like, I in 7 days I just ate 3 times. And I gave all my interviews like starved, like dehydrated and starved and all. So yeah, like, you could have, like, if I told my condition, you could have made them online for me, right? Like a Skype interview. Like, it's not a big accommodation to make. Like, it's not that
it's
hard.
not.
But no, you had to make me suffer. Like, to, and even then, when I get through all of that, your doctor says that, okay, don't make it an excuse to skip classes. Dude, what do you want? Like what? Like how much? How many more times do we have to prove ourselves to like get it in our head that like we are capable, and like you are still denying something that is our right? Like how many more times do we have to
Mhm.
prove ourselves to get that in people's heads? I don't understand. Yeah.
That's crazy. But the thing is like what you did, like not eating and eating less, not drinking more, that's because you know your body and you want your body to be in the best shape without the least problems when you're doing important stuff like that. And it's like you're doing that because you know your body, but other people won't ever understand. And
Yeah.
it's like,
And even in that condition, like I'm losing somewhere, right? Okay, I got admission, but like after those 7 days of not eating, like it's hurting my body. Like after that, like it's hurting me somewhere. Like we are always losing on one side, like either on the medical side, or like if you choose one, you are bound to like we will lose on the other side. Like yeah, like it's always a compromise. There's no like win-win situation for if we want to take a win, then we have to take a loss also simultaneously. Like there's always this kind of thing.
yeah, like for me, it happened quite soon after my symptoms started. So I had it in school. Was that I'm left-handed, but I have it worse in my right hand. But like I can't write without it hurting. So even if I write like one word, it hurts. But when you're writing, like I did essay-based subjects, so like 3 essays in 3 hours. And it's like pages and pages. And even healthy people complain, like, oh my God, my hand. And it's like, I remember when I was sitting my college exams, I didn't get any accommodation. And I remember like my hand was hurting so much, but I was like, I need to finish it. Came out of the exam and my hand was just stuck. I couldn't move it. And it took like 2 hours for me to actually properly be able to move my hand again. Um, and it's just like people don't realize, like you said, like we're always losing somewhere, and people talk to us like we shouldn't think like that. Like there's always going to be a win-win, but there's no win-win. And if I convince myself there's a win-win, I'm just going to get disappointed.
Yeah.
So like, let me just accept my reality and just do things my way without that judgment.
Yeah. And like uh like Tani, like what was the like reaction of your like friends or to all of this? Like were they supportive, or like I'm asking that
I
question
mean,
because like what I am thinking is like how to rectify all of this, because clearly we need we need accommodation, like we need to make people understand. So like what do you think like can be done to do this?
the mistake I made was I didn't tell anyone before I wrote that blog. That blog was the way of me actually telling everyone. And I had people messaging me like, I never knew you had an illness, because it was like, you don't want to keep explaining it to everyone. And I guess I wish I talked to my friends because they would have been supportive. Um, and I think sometimes telling them the more you can, like telling them the kind of more private experiences you have, like this hand thing, or like you're like having like a leak or something like that. Like it's sometimes you have to show people the other side of it for them to understand. They will be supportive, but it's like you have to be like ready to share that experiences with everyone. Once you share that experiences, you feel like people around you understand more and you have a voice, but it's not easy to make yourself vulnerable, and
Yeah, yeah.
because you want to keep a front on and you have to show both sides.
Yeah, I think like yeah, like we go to college or school and we meet new people, and like it's really difficult to one thing, like it's complicated. Already it's complicated, so it's not easy to explain. And then yeah, like you have to be so vulnerable, and like like personally, like it's difficult for me to like trust people. Like I think
Me
I'm more
too.
afraid of like how they'll respond or like how they'll react. And yeah, like that's why like I haven't told many people in my campus about it, like very few people. And yeah, like it's scary, like it's uncomfortable for us, like first, like whenever somebody gets to know about it, or by some way, like they'll ask me, okay, like what is a medical condition, and I'll be like, it's too complicated to like explain. Just know that I have something and like it affects me. But then some days, like they'll ask for details, and then what happens is like after a certain period of time, if I think that okay, like let's try telling this person, and then either they will be shocked, or like either either like it's no response at all, either they'll like just like I don't, they'll do something, and then like it feels like it's irrelevant for them at some time. So for with some people will be like really supportive, but with some people when I tell them, it's just like okay, you have this, okay, like like what? Like I'm telling you my like very personal experiences, like very like difficult things, and you're like just okay. And
I
yeah,
mean,
it's very difficult.
like I know people who like sit there and they're like so shocked, and then I'm like, oh God, like have I stressed them out by telling them? Because they give this reaction where they're like up. I've had like people close to me like cry because they're that upset about it. I'm like, do I feel
Yeah,
guilty?
yeah, yeah,
You
exactly.
naturally feel guilty. And I mean, like, I'm not sure my sister would appreciate me saying that she's older than me, but um, so I've written a blog about my costochondritis, a chest pain. Everyone knows about my chest pain. And I was like coughing, and I was like, oh, like my costochondritis makes it hard for me to swallow sometimes. And she was like, your chest hurts every day. I was like, yeah. She was like, I never knew that. I was like, you're my sister. um, but it just shows you how like people just it's not their fault, but they just sometimes forget, and that's natural. We understand that, but it's, it's just hard because it's like I didn't know anything about chronic health conditions before I had my experience. So how can I expect other people who don't have an experience to know what it is? Like I had to just search up and research over and over again. Like I remember someone told me they had Crohn's disease when I was like in school, and I didn't know what Crohn's was, and now I mean I know a lot about it. So it's like if the fundamental education and awareness isn't there, how can we expect that?
Yeah, yeah, like yeah, exactly. Like there needs to be awareness, like yeah, because like yeah, even we didn't know about, we can't expect them to know everything about it. But yeah, I think the way in which like people react, yeah, sometimes it hurts a lot. Like
Mhm.
even with me, like whenever I change my osteomet, like I keep it private, and like like so that like no, like I think like all like yeah, a lot of time we are just trying not to make people uncomfortable, like when it should be
Yeah.
like the other way around, right? But most of the time we are trying to make, like we are trying so that okay, people feel comfortable around us, like we are trying to put in a lot of effort. And as a consequence of that, I think like our experiences become like less important, like people forget that we have this thing, and like we are trying so hard. And yeah, I think that basic awareness is not there, and I think yeah, that is very much required so that this does not happen. Yeah, yeah, like I don't know, it's like for me a lot of times I've had this, that like I just hide things so that like people are not uncomfortable. And like I wish I didn't have to do that all the time, like I wish that somebody just understood, and like it just acted naturally, like it's not like a, yeah, like we say many times, right? Like it's not like we are not asking too much, but yeah, like even small comments and small things can have a big impact on our life and on our mental health. And small accommodations will help us like grow a lot more. Your small like just by not saying something, or by like saying small word, like it will help us not to like be get insane, and it will help us stay sane. Yeah, yeah, that is like what you said about like even family sometimes is like they don't know what's going on with us, and I think that is sometimes sad.
Yeah, it's like because you know it's gonna be forever, and it has been because it's chronic. You feel like after a bit, it just becomes such a repetitive conversation, and like I one thing that really like makes me feel guilty and makes me feel kind of like a burden
Yeah.
is when other people get frustrated because of the situation I'm in. Because I know they're not frustrated at me, they're frustrated at my situation because they care about me. But then I think if I wasn't like this, then they wouldn't be frustrated. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like
Exactly. Yeah. Like with.
hard.
Yeah. 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 Exactly. Like you. Yeah. Like it. There's guilt, and then you feel like that's how like your mental starts to decline, right? When this starts happening, like frequently, like these kind of feelings start to set in, like we talked about last time also, and like yeah, your sense of self worth will decrease, and yeah, it becomes very difficult, and that's why accommodations are necessary, right? Like it's not a big burden to the people, like it's not a big burden to give us those accommodations, but if you
Mm-hmm.
give us those, like it's easier for you also, like it's
No,
like
yeah.
you won't have to see all those things, and like there won't be these difficult conversations, and like it will like it's comfortable for both of us, like it will keep us comfortable and it will keep you comfortable also, like it's just like a little bit of effort, like it's not too much. On the other hand, like if you don't give us accommodations, we have to try too hard to like match up to that level, and like like to keep you comfortable with that. So yeah, like that is a like giving us accommodations is a win-win. And
Yeah.
not is like we are losing, and it's not fair that always we lose, right? If not giving accommodations was such that you lost also, then maybe we would have been fine with it, but it's always we who are losing, and I think yeah, that's unfair. Like why should we go through all of that all the time? For once, like we expect people to, yeah, if it's a very small thing, because we would do it, right? Because we know that we would do it. Yeah, and even like all this work from home thing and everything, remote work, everybody knows that it's like it was possible, but before the pandemic, like people didn't take it seriously, like disabled people won't get that option, and everybody wanted people to come to offices. But yeah, it's possible, people are working, and now you are having to do it because of the pandemic, but before that you couldn't give someone an accommodation. So yeah, like
Mhm.
it's like, yeah, like it's ableism, right? I think this is what it is. So yeah, like there's this prejudice, and like there's this there are all these assumptions that these people can't do things like that, or these people like this is not good enough. But yeah, if you make small changes, I think like we can do a lot more better than what you think we are capable of. Yeah.
Mhm. I think like after this conversation, if there's anything I want people to know, is that we don't ask for any special treatment. We don't ask for anything extra. We just ask for the things we deserve to kind of put us in the same level playing field as
Yeah.
everyone else. Like we, it's like we're not asking for a head start at the race. We're just asking to be at the same point. Um, and when we say things like, oh, like people don't stop and think, okay, this person's they're doing this despite everything they have to deal with. We're not asking for like, I don't know, like a medal or a
Yeah,
trophy, like
exactly. I
nothing
was
like
going to
that.
say
But
like
it's
that. Yeah.
just like have it in the back of your mind. Like just remember, like, um, because it's not easy. And it's not like, oh, we're playing a victim game and we want all our attention. It's nothing like that. It's like we just want to be like at the same level as everyone else.
Yeah, yeah. Even I think the same thing. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like we just want it to be a fair competition, or like we just want it to be fair, because I think even like okay, let's say like you're a normal person, even if you are in pain, like you wouldn't want to give an exam in that situation. Like you
Yeah.
wouldn't want to study like that. So like if we demand, just because we have it every day doesn't mean that like if we are demanding it then it's unfair or something like that. So yeah, like a small amount of effort on your part will help us. Like yeah, we are not asking for a medal or anything. Like in fact, I hate it, like when sometimes we, despite like when people say that, like say things like that, a sense of irony hits me. Like okay, they are saying all these things, but they don't know like backstage what's happening, like how much I'm
Mhm.
suffering to like put on this show for you, that okay, I'm a strong person and everything. Like to do this, how much I'm suffering backstage, you don't know. And
Hmm.
sometimes like that feels ironic to me, like you are, like praising me and everything, but yeah, you don't know what I am doing when you're not looking at me, and how much suffering I'm in, and what I'm doing to, so that you can say this to me, so that like
Hmm.
I can be this person that you are, praising. So like how much suffering I have to go through to be this person. And yeah, like we just want things to be fair, we just want, like, and I don't think even with accommodations, like it's like we'll always be at a loss. Like you can't take away our pain. Like
Yeah.
you can't take away our pain. Like we'll always have to suffer through that. But yeah, we are not even demanding that. Like we have found a way to deal with those things. We are just asking like you to be considerate, and like I think if they were in place of us, like I think I don't know, like if people would respond to this or not. But yeah, like if you were in pain, what would you do? Like what would you ask for? I think like that's only what we are asking for. Like if you were in that situation just for a day, and that day was an important day for you, what accommodations would you need? I think that's only what we are asking for, nothing more than that.
Yeah, I think it's like we never, ever, ever expect or think anyone's going to take our pain away. We we know that better than know everyone else that that's not going to happen. So don't think that we're even assuming that. All we want is like we found our way to cope. Can you please just make sure that the way we've chosen to cope is as comfortable as possible?
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's like we've already settled for the second best because we know we're not going to get our health back. We've already settled for the second best, but can you just let me be as comfortable as possible with the second best, if that makes sense?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we have already compromised on a lot of things. We are already like made peace with this kind of life, that okay, we are not going to get certain things. And like I think it takes a lot of effort on our part to get to that stage. Yeah, like already
It
from a
does. It's
diagnosis, and it
ages.
takes a lot of effort to get to the acceptance phase. And please don't make us do that again. I think
The
every
boys is
time we
like,
are denied
yeah.
something, we have to go through that cycle all again. Every time we have to do that all again. Like first get angry, then like deny, and then like grieve, and like we have to go through it all again, and that's tiring, and that's like yeah, it's not good for anyone's mental health. Like let alone someone coping with something that has physical symptoms. So yeah, I think yeah, like that is the point of
Yeah,
accommodations,
I
to
think,
just give us like a fair playing field, and like make our life, just to not make our lives more harder than it already is, right?
yeah, like the last thing I'd want to say is just like, for us, we're like, we're like, okay, this is a weird analogy, but like a glass that keeps on breaking and you have to keep putting it back
Yeah,
together. And it's like we know how to put ourselves back together, but just can you make sure that we don't break again within like a day? Like it's just
yeah,
like give us a break. It's just like we know we're not expecting things to be perfect, not at all. But I guess just make it as easy as possible as you can. Because for other people, it's very small, minute changes. But for us, that accommodation feels like, I don't know, like I owe someone a favor. Like it's
yeah,
such a big thing for me.
yeah,
Um, and it's like it makes us so happy and like in ways which people don't understand. Like it's kind of sad. It's like a kid which gets a toy and is like crazy happy about it. But that's like how important it is to us.
yeah. I think yeah, and that's why it's accommodation, right? Like just accommodate us, like just include us, just accommodate us, and
Hmm.
yeah, that's the point. Like every time we are denied something, like you said, like we keep breaking, and we have to keep on assembling ourselves, and we have to keep doing that again and again and again and again. And yeah, I think for like that kid thing, like if I have to give a toy to, for me it's like maybe $5, but like if you give a really cheap toy to a kid, it will they will be very happy, like they'll run out. So I think, yeah, it's like that for us. Like for you, it will be a very small effort, but for us, like it can mean the world for us. Because, and it's
Mhm.
just like it has long term effects also. Like in like just not short term, it has long term also. So yeah, I think like, yeah, just accommodate us, include us, and it's not a like we have been saying repeatedly, right? Like it's not a big effort, like I said, like my interview could have been on Skype or whatever. So yeah, I think we need these accommodations and much more than people realize. And like if we get these accommodations, I think it's better for us in every way. Like we can perform better, we can live better, and we can take care of our mental health better. Like it's yeah, it's better for us in every way.
Mhm.
Yeah, cool. Then I think that's a good point to end. Yeah, because I think that is also weird. Like this, I think there's so many things to say that like these conversations. That's why I think we feel like saying like these conversations never end, because like these things haven't been said
Mhm.
before enough times. I think
Yeah.
like it's not been said enough, because if it had been said enough times, either like that enough thing bar is very high, because if it hadn't been said enough times, we wouldn't be discussing all this right now. These things would have
Yeah.
already been in place. So yeah, I think it's important to like keep speaking up and keep discussing about these things, but we have run out of time.
Yeah.
We have other things to do also, so like we should stop today. So yeah, thank you everyone for listening, and we will. I think further we are going to talk about stigma and other ways in which chronic illness can impact our mental health, and we will post dates to those talks soon. And yeah, after this, if you haven't seen it live, then you can go to Tanya's podcast or you can watch the recording later. So yeah, thank you everyone. I think we should go.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone. So, bye.
I just stopped
Ending things
recording.
is very weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Bye.
No, it's